Okay, so this is just a little bit of additional explanation about transposing instruments. So right here, I've got three instruments. I've got a flute, which is a concert instrument, and a B-flat clarinet, which is a B-flat instrument, and a horn and F, which is an F instrument. Or so the flute. Imagine that this is the part that you're actually going to give the flute player. You're going to give the flute player this C. Actually, you know what? I feel like maybe the flute player would like it better if I put it up an octave. I'm not sure. Flute players, you can correct me if I'm wrong. So I give the flute player these notes on a piece of staff paper, and they play, and this is what it sounds like. So if I give those same notes to the clarinet player, let me get rid of these actually. I'm going to give the same notes instead of these different notes. Okay, so I'm going to give the, let's go ahead and get rid of this key signature. Okay, so I'm going to give the clarinet player the same notes. Like this. There we go. So you might think that it's going to sound the same, that the flute and the clarinet are going to be playing the same pitches, but they're not. This is the pitch that the clarinet's playing. That's the pitch that the flute's playing. And the reason is because a B-flat clarinet, when a B-flat clarinet sees the note C, it plays a whole step lower. So that's the confusing part for some people, but if you think about it for a while, it'll start to make sense. So if I give this C to a clarinet player and say, play this note, it sounds like that, which is a whole step lower than the flute, which actually plays what it sees. You can think of it as the clarinet plays a whole step flat of what's written. So if I want the flute and the clarinet to play the same note, I need to write a D. Now if it sees this D, it's going to play this pitch, which is a C. So I have to compensate for this transposition, if that makes sense. So I have to put everything up a whole step. So let's listen to, now I put everything that the B-flat clarinet has. I just took these two measures and I put them up a whole step. Now they're on the same notes, right? Let's get rid of the horn part for just a second. I can listen to the playback and make sure that it worked. I know it did, but I just want you to. Oh, the second half, I haven't transposed it yet. So right now, these are on the same note. The clarinet is on an F, and the flute is on an F. But since the clarinet actually plays a whole step lower, I need to write it a whole step higher. See here, the flute's on an E, so I need to make this an F sharp. So now every note that the flute has, I wrote in the clarinet part a whole step higher. Now they should sound the same. Yes, awesome. So actually what I'm going to do, because the flute part here is in the key of C, is I'm going to add a key signature here because I want this to be actually in the key of D, so I don't have to have any accidentals. So I can actually just do it like a little fancy way here, like this, and boom. Oh no, it didn't work. Oh, it almost worked. Oh yeah, I know what I got to do. I got it. Don't worry. There we go. So now the clarinet part is in the key of D, but it's going to be sounding the key of C. Okay. How about this horn and F part? Let's think about that for a second. So horn and F means that if I put the same C here and I give that to a horn player and say, play this note for me, would you? Whoops, that's not what I meant. Did you hear that that's not the right note? See, here's a C. Why is it doing that? There we go. Here's the note we want. If I give it to the horn player, It sounds down there, but I want it to sound up here. And that's because a horn in F plays a fifth lower than what it sees. So if a horn in F sees a C, it's going to play an F. So if we want the horn to play this C, the same as the flute, we need to write it a whole step, a fifth up. Yeah. Actually, wait a second here. So that's getting a little bit too high. See that? It's getting out of the range. So I'm going to write it a fifth up minus an octave. So it's going to be an octave off. But basically it's going to be a fifth. Do you know what I'm trying to do here? It's like a fifth and then minus an octave so that it stays in the range of the horn. But it's going to play, it needs to play a G in order to sound a C. So actually, if I give the horn this note, it's actually going to sound the C down here. Hopefully that makes sense. So let me just paste this down here. So here we go. So now we have 3 instruments, and they all should be playing in unison. Let's hear what they sound like. Even though it looks like the horn's in the key of G and the clarinet's in the key of D and the flute's in the key of C, but the horn is actually sounding a fifth lower, so it's actually sounding a C. This D, the B flat clarinet, sounding a whole step lower, so it's actually sounding a C, and the flute is concert. Anyway, I hope this makes a little bit of sense, helps you understand the transposing instruments thing. It's a little hard to understand at first, but once you get your mind around it, then it gets easier. I still have to think it through every time, but I hope this helps a little bit.